Yo, this is Mike, Ringmaster of the Imagination Circus. Don't feel like I've said that enough recently, but yeah, I'm trying something a little bit different, trying to expand the channel's, shall we say, I don't know, resume? What do you want from me? So I'm going to try something different here because I want to do more on this channel, and so maybe this will give me some ideas, maybe this will expand it, maybe this will evolve, who knows. But it's just going to be me talking about different subjects, different random subjects in a single video, a sort of a conversation. You know, I want your thoughts, that is my big thing. Give me your comments so that I know what you think about what I'm about to say here. And I've picked a nice assortment of subjects for today, and I hope you enjoy this, my audience, those. Alright, so the first subject I want to talk about is the Force, as in the Force from Star Wars.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
Specifically, the balance of the Force. Because, I gotta say, why is it that everybody, every time I see a video talking about the balance of the Force, it seems to be come to the conclusion with varying shared words and or hypotheses that it is based purely on the number of Force users in the galaxy. Because it ended, you know, with 2 Jedi and 2 Sith, except by the time that the end of the trilogy, the original trilogy happened and there were only 2 Sith.
Always 2 there are. No more, no less.
The fact is that, you know what, that doesn't really make sense. I will say that most of the people who thought about this were right, you know, about it just having to be getting rid of the last remaining Jedi and Sith, but they're not right about bringing down the number to the equal amount. Because you know what? It doesn't matter how many Jedi and or Sith are there. That's not what the balancing the Force is all about. That's not why Anakin was created. Balance to the Force was brought by specifically Vader killing the Emperor. He could have lived and the Force would have still been in balance, and here's why. I believe that the Force came into balance because Vader killed Palpatine, but not because there were so few individuals in the Force at that point. I believe that the Force came back into balance. I believe the Force wanted Anakin to kill off the Jedi. I believe the Force wanted Anakin to kill off Palpatine. But I think that while Palpatine needed to die, the Jedi did not. They were so flawed that the Force created a scenario in which Anakin, as Vader, had no choice but to eliminate the Jedi. Because that ensures that they had been cleansed. If they had just changed their ways, learned from all the mistakes they had made, they wouldn't have had to die. But they had to die. And that is really the big lesson here. They had to die because they just didn't learn. They should have learned, but they didn't. And that is where we get to this part. I believe the Force needed Anakin to kill off the Jedi after they didn't learn their lesson, and Palpatine because really he was a blight on the Force as a whole, because there needed to be a clean slate. That is the balance. The ability for the light and dark side to be used in equal measure by any individual Force user in the galaxy. It's not about the balance of people, it's about balancing the Force. And if Anakin had lived, he would have been the perfect example of this. And I believe if he had lived, he would have been able to create that perfect Jedi society. The new Jedi. Not necessarily called the Jedi. Gray Jedi? Whatever. You could be called the Sith Jedi, for all I care. The point is, they needed to be themselves in balance, and they weren't. And Anakin/Vader died without able to properly instruct his son. True, there is Force ghosting, but clearly that's not something Luke used to his advantage. Otherwise, all of the stuff wouldn't have happened in The Last Jedi. Because Luke didn't properly learn, and he tried to. But he was so afraid. He didn't realize until the very end. And I hope Rey, whatever comes out of her learning to use the Force, I hope she is able to create that balance in perfection among Force users. But I think the Force itself is truly balanced. Because there is still a clean slate. It hasn't been, corrupted. The Force is still moving, ever flowing.
Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings, though we, not this crude matter.
The balance might not be permanent, but it's enough, and I think that's all that matters. So, yeah. For my next topic of conversation, I'm going to be talking about Steven Universe, specifically the most recent episode of Steven Universe. Now, I'm not the biggest Steven Universe fan. I'd go ahead and even say I'm a casual fan of the show, but I do go and watch new episodes whenever they come out. And being the case, I decided to watch the most recent episode, the two most recent episodes, but of course we're talking about the latter here being A Single Pale Rose. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the treatment of one pink diamond, aka rose quartz, because that's a thing. I'm not going to explain my full thoughts here because I feel that somebody else specifically can do it better. In fact, I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video to a video by one Finn the Pony, who I feel does a much better job than I ever could of putting my thoughts out there. Like, seriously, everything he says is more or less aligned with my own thoughts about it, so please check that out. I'm specifically concerned with all the hate directed towards Rose Quartz and Pink Diamond, respectively, or, well, they're the same person, but you know what I mean. My thoughts here are this, that I think that in the end with this particular case, yes, is she not a great person? No. But I think it's pretty clear that she's a diamond, and the diamonds have clearly been grown with a lack of empathy. They might have some kind of strange, for lack of a better term, programming that points to them caring about each other, but outside of that, there's nothing there. I'd like to believe that she at least had some genuine love for Greg, and therefore she wanted to have Steven because she wanted to have him, and not for another excuse to run away from her problems, but that's my personal belief. Otherwise, I do feel a bit of empathy for her. And I don't feel a lot of sympathy. I generally dole out the empathy, but not a lot of sympathy. Is she a great person? Is she the great person everybody thought she was? No. Does that mean that we have to automatically hate her? No! Look, the way you feel is the way you feel. I'm not saying you have to feel the way I feel about this, but I can't bring myself to hate her. Hell, comparatively speaking, we have characters who are far worse when it comes to certain franchises, and they're loved. Look at Darth Vader. Darth Vader is like a great character, but he has done many terrible things. Like Rose and or Pink Diamond, they were off screen, but they were done, and yet for some reason he's loved by the fandom when really he was kind of a psychopath. But you look at Rose, aka Pink, and well, I hardly call her sociopath or anything, but she did do some terrible things. But it was more because of the consequences of her actions rather than her directly being a villain or anything. So yeah, like, again, you don't have to love her. I certainly don't, but I don't hate her, and hell, I'm entertained by what happened here. Whatever your feelings are on this reveal, or just Rose/Pink's character in general, take this in mind, okay? There are people who have deliberately done horrible, horrible things. But here we have a single intelligent entity who definitely did things that had horrible, horrible consequences. But they had good consequences too. And I'm not saying you have to weigh those consequences, because hell, the bad consequences probably outweigh the good consequences. But in the end, I can't hate somebody who just didn't do anything malicious or deliberately bad. There were bad consequences, but when a person doesn't deliberately commit any sort of real heinous act, I can't bring myself to hate them. So, feel whatever you feel towards this character. Feel whatever you feel towards this reveal. But in the end, I think this is good for the episode. And you know what? Like I said, please check out Finn the Pony's video on this subject. I think he puts this a lot better than I ever could. So just check that out, and please stay to the end of this video. I hope you enjoy. Next subject. Spike is my favorite character. He's a dragon. He's the only male among the main cast. No offense to any ladies. I love ladies. Trust me, I really do. But, you know, and of course, he's entertaining. He's quick-witted, he's funny, he's very helpful when the writers know how to write him properly.
Smell my dirty feet. Oh no, pies! Come help an Applejack make some pies! Do you have a broom I could borrow?
But he's been highly underutilized by the writers and the show staff. But he's just not used well enough. I love his character, and I love how they do use him, because when they use him well, they use him well. But they aren't utilizing him quite enough for my taste. I'm not saying we have to have every other episode be about Spike, just use him a little bit more. Allow him to say a little bit more, help a little bit more, and just have him be in more episodes. And if you wanted to have a few more episodes primarily about him, I'm not gonna protest. I mean, you got 26 episodes. That's more than most mainstream live action aimed at adult television shows. I mean, really. I mean, come on. 26 episodes, 22 minutes a week. You can't devote a little bit extra to my favorite purple pal? My point is that I would like to see a little bit more of Spike. Whatever it takes. But I mean, even in the movie, they didn't use him. His standout moment, outside of a few funny quips, was the inclusion of him being used as a flamethrower by an anthropomorphic cat.
Hey, ain't you a fire-breathing dragon?
I mean, that scene was awesome.
Everything is awesome.
It's just not enough. Or at least it's not enough for me. I want a little bit more Spike. Am I being selfish? Am I sounding like a somewhat spoiled child who feels entitled? Maybe just a little bit. But, I'm asking you, the writers, if you somehow see this, I doubt you will, but in case any of you happen to come across this, please use Spike a little bit more, or just use him a little bit more directly. Just stick a little bit more of that sarcastic wit in there. That's all I need. That's all I need. For my next topic of conversation, I'm going to talk to you about something that's happening currently in my real life. Currently, there is a mouse living in my residence. Deliberately avoided the rhyme there. This mouse has been seen by me and other residents of the house. Now, I, of course, don't mind it really. That's the kind of person I am. The mouse isn't really bothering me. Apparently, there has been some feces discovered from the creature. I personally have not seen it, but I've been lucky that way. However, two of my fellow residents here are determined to get rid of the mouse. One of them I believe, plans to poison the mouse. The other really just wants the mouse to go away and considers it's a nuisance. I personally don't mind and have barely seen the mouse, though I did see it run past me one night and literally scurry under my bed and somehow get downstairs again. I don't know how that worked. You know, mice are good at that, I guess. I personally would like to hear your thoughts on this situation. I honestly am curious. What do you guys think about this? Would you not mind having the mouse around? Would you want to catch it, kill it, whatever? What would you do? I am personally okay just letting it live here and do whatever the hell it wants. But that's just me. What do you think? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments.
Seem to be mixed.
Okay, so in the most recent episode of the show, the Breakup Breakdown, which I thought was fantastic, my favorite episode of Season 8 so far, we got to see this scene.
I've been sitting here feeling sorry for myself for not having a special pony on Hearts and Hopes Day, but remembering all the fun we had, I think I have 2 special ponies. My 2 best friends. Aww.
And do you know what my thought was at that particular moment, in which I sadly didn't voice during my reaction video to the episode? It was, this would make for some great polyamorous fan fiction. I'm serious. And to be fair, I love me polyamorous fanfiction. Sadly, I don't think there's enough. Hell, I don't think there's enough media attention on polyamorous anything. Seriously, I don't think a lot of people even know what that word means. Seriously though, somebody please write something on this. I would, but I just don't have the time to write fanfiction like I want to. And trust me, I really want to. Somebody write some polyamorous fanfiction for this, because trust me, I'm not the only one who sees it, right? Right? So I've only recently managed to see Marvel's Avengers Infinity War. And you know what? I'm gonna give you my honest to goodness thoughts on it. I loved it. It was great. It's fantastic. Seriously though. I recently rewatched Batman Begins. And I love that movie. I think it's the best in the Nolan trilogy. You can argue against me, you can disagree, but that's my thought. But I think that movie was way too long. There's a bonus thought for you. I felt that Batman Begins was too long. It's, you know, you could have cut like 20, maybe 40 minutes from the whole thing. It would have been fine. But I think it was just a little too long. It could have been shorter. Infinity War was the perfect length, and I think it was longer than Batman Begins. It was perfectly paced, perfectly cut. The Russo brothers are freaking geniuses. And again, I don't hand that title out loosely, and I am a student of film. This was a good movie. This was a great movie. This movie surprised me in ways I didn't think it would, and it did things I did not see coming. The special effects were great. Thanos was great, fantastic, probably the best villain we've gotten so far, which is apparently a common complaint for those of you who are fans of the MCU, and honestly, that's a thought I'm kind of sick of hearing that observation, but whatever. It was a damn good movie. I implore you to go give it your money. Yes, it's made more than $1 billion already, but you know what? I want this movie to make $2 billion. I don't care if it's very unlikely. I want this movie to do that. So do it, people. And also that end credit scene. That end credit scene, baby. Yeah! Yeah! I'm sorry. I was literally talking to the two people. I went with my sister and a friend to see this movie. And I literally was telling them about how, like, Captain Marvel is coming out after Ant-Man and the Wasp, and how it's, like, coming out, like, so it's coming out right before, and the whole situation about it. And literally, we finally were waiting for that end credit scene, and what happens? We get a tease for Captain Marvel. I love it. Oh, seriously. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I love this movie. I love Marvel. I love the MCU. I love everything about it. Like, this movie, I honestly can't think of a single problem I have with this movie. Not, like, off the top of my head. Maybe it'll come to me later, because I only recently managed to see it. But, this is my thoughts on it. I loved it. I might think of something, a problem I have with it later, but I absolutely loved it. So, if you haven't already... and again, I'm probably one of the few people who hadn't already seen it. But if you haven't seen it, go give it its money. Make it possible. Hashtag Avengers 2 billion. Hashtag 2 billion Avengers. Something. Somebody come up with a better hashtag. I don't do hashtags. I don't even use Twitter that often. Please, make this a thing. Do it. It needs to happen. I want this movie to make $2 billion. Go! My last pony-related thought when it comes to this video is about Diamond Tiara. Now, I'm going to make this perfectly clear. Crusaders of the Lost Mark is one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. No joke, I'm one of those people who absolutely loved that episode because, I'm going to be honest, I like when villains, or in this case, antagonists, get reformed. When they see the error of their ways and they join the good guys, or at the very least make up with them, whatever, they turn away from the dark side. It's probably one of the reasons that Darth Vader is one of my favorite characters. And hell, it's not just him. Many of my favorite characters are villains who turn away from that side of things. But, and this is my biggest problem, not really with the episodes, but with the series and the episodes that have focused on the Cutie Mark Crusaders since then. The only time we see Diamond Tiara now is in the background, as a background pony. Hell, I don't even know, like it's been it's been almost 3 seasons now, almost 3 full seasons, and we haven't seen her. And I know some of you probably don't want to see her, but I know there is a select few, including Silverquill, who wouldn't mind getting a new episode with Diamond Tiara. I would love to see what it would be like now that she's reformed, how she would interact with the Cutie Mark Crusaders, how she would react with everybody else. What would it be like? It would be a great episode. Seriously. This is like more than anything else. This is something I haven't even seen any fan fiction about it. Like the amount, why is this such a rare thing? I want more of this. I want a single episode. If it's one episode, I'll live with it. But I want a single episode where we see Diamond Tiara hanging out with the CMC or whatever, or what her post-reform life is like. That's all I ask. It's a simple thing. Like, I don't know why this hasn't been done. It would be a great episode. There are so many possibilities. But for some reason, the writers and show staff just don't want to give it to us. So I implored you, the fans of MLP, friendship is magic. Please, do something about this. Put it in Twitter. Make it a hashtag. And since they've more than likely finished the rest of Season 8, it's going to have to be Season 9. Maybe even Episode 200. So please, hashtag Diamond Force Season 9. Send it to the showrunners, send it to whoever it needs to be sent to at the MLP staff, on their Twitter, whatever. Hashtag Diamond 4 Season 9. Please, do it. I want this episode to be a thing. Make it happen. We are the fans. For my next thoughts, here in this video, I want to talk about the fact that Alfred Pennyworth, Batman's butler, is getting his own show. Okay, this might be the best decision DC has made in a long, long, long time. Now, some people might argue with me, but I don't care. Alfred, hands down, is the best character from the entire Bat cast. From the entire Bat family, even. And you know what? I will fight you in the comments and anywhere else, because this is something that I feel is an indisputable fact. You could argue with me, you could disagree with me, that's your human right, but I think you're wrong. Alfred is the best. Now, I will go out on a limb and say I feel that the animated properties for DC are where they should really put their focus, because because that's at least where they've had some marginable successes, and you know what? I think that's where they should put the focus, but that's just DC. And you know what? This show is probably going to be live action, but you know what? I don't care. I don't know who they're going to cast. I still don't care, because I don't think I've seen a version of Alfred who I disliked. I mean, he is awesome. I don't know. I can't express it enough. And like everything from his sense of humor, for how he puts up with all of Bruce's bullshit. You heard me. I just said bullshit. And I don't curse that often. And yes, I censored myself. It doesn't matter. I still said it. And he took care of him. He basically became a second father to Batman. He was in the Secret Service or whatever for the British. That's apparently what the show's going to be focused on. It's going to be set in the 60s, which I can't wait to see how they do this. I think this is genuinely one of the best decisions Warner Brothers and DC has ever made. And I am excited for this. Honestly, between this and the third season of Young Justice, you know what? Maybe, I mean, and I'm more of a Marvel guy, but this I think is great. So leave your comments in the comment section, I guess, of this video, and tell me what you think about this decision and what you think the show will be like. And hell, tell me who you think should play Alfred. I'm dying to know. I want to know. Seriously, I'm curious. What do you think? Alright, so I feel like this might be the thing I get harped on the most for in this video, but simple thoughts I want to give. Okay, so what is the appeal of chunky peanut butter? I'm serious, like, why do people eat this? If I'm going to eat something that is inherently creamy, why would I want to have a secondary choice for that thing that has the option of putting chunky bits in the damn thing? It's peanut butter. I mean, if you want to eat peanuts, eat peanuts. Peanut butter is already a byproduct of peanuts. Why put more peanut in it? It doesn't need more peanuts. It's peanut butter. It goes good with everything else. Jelly, I'm not the biggest fan of, but you know what? I do like the combination of that sweet, savory peanut butter and that sweet, sweet jelly. If it's very little jelly. If anybody else is interested in this, at college, I used to buy jelly donuts, squeeze most of the jelly out, and then cover what was left in peanut butter. Melted peanut butter. I loved that. That's how much I love peanut butter. And it was delicious. Try this. It's not very good for you, but it's delicious. Then there's chocolate. Obviously, my favorite candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. It tastes delicious. I don't know what I want, but I love me some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. They are great. And then there's one from the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis, the fried peanut butter and banana sandwich. It's great. I make these. Literally, I make fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Hell, sometimes I melt some chocolate into the peanut butter and make a chocolate peanut butter and banana sandwich. They're great. That's how much I love peanut butter. I can't emphasize this enough. People put it on apples. People put it on celery. That's crazy, but people love peanut butter that much, and yet you ruin it with Chunky. Why would you put more peanut in the peanut butter? It's a waste. It's dumb. Seriously. Why would you do this? I don't understand it. I just don't. Seriously, why do it? Why? So, I hope you all enjoyed that. Those were my thoughts on a few not so integral subjects, not anything really all that important, but just things that, you know, I happen to deal with in my everyday life when it comes to geek stuff or real world stuff. And yes, I do consider the peanut butter thing a real world thing. That is my thought. Anyway, I hope you liked this. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Come back. I'm gonna be probably not necessarily doing something exactly like this, but probably gonna try and do something similar in the future. I want to try and, you know, give this a try, see how it goes. But, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. Please leave a comment, and, yeah, good night. Good night, everybody.